But wait. The Voxmaster is silent for a few seconds. Lord Captain, a new report. Kiava Gamma is sending a request to exchange data. Should we accept it? I mean, that's why we're trying to get in contact, right? Accept the transmission. As you command, Lord Captain. Voxmaster switches to a nearby comm channel to relay instructions to the crew. For several minutes, nothing happens. Suddenly, a deafening screech erupts from the bridge's Vox system. You hear violent tirades of garbled binary code, like the low chuckles of machinery. Lord Captain, interference detected in the compartment Vox system. Looks like the bridge is cut off from the rest of the void ship. Did they send us a virus? How dare they? What is going on? On the void ship's bridge, sounds of working cogitators and officers' footsteps. The everyday scene is interrupted by an ear-splitting beeping sound, followed by lumens going out. In the dim glow of candles and emergency lights, one of the officers in frame cries out, another falls to her knees, clutching her head. But the beeping of Vox's shouts can only just be heard. What's going on? The doors are locked. We've lost control of all compartments. One of the bridge officers turns to the throne. Lord Captain, the Vox stations are malfunctioning and overloading the system. None of our outgoing transmissions are getting through. The incoming ones that do make it are distorted beyond interpretation. The Lord Captain gives the order to decipher the incoming Vox transmissions at all costs. Quite sure it's a virus. Oh boy, that really looks like chaos. Proceed! A team of decryption experts gets to work. Data tethers are inserted into sockets as they connect to the cogitators. One of the Vox clerics leans over the console, another is writing something on a piece of parchment. But then she bursts into maniacal laughter and stabs herself in the eye with a steel quill. Another scream. A tech priest who was mid-prayer tears himself to pieces with his own mechadendrites. More and more lunatics are mutilating themselves and lunging at each other. Portion of pic recording damaged after contact with unknown object. An enforcer shoves a rabid servitor away from the Lord Captain, SC. As he executes one of the lunatics and roars a series of orders to the rest. Super rude sending viruses to the rogue trader ship. How dare they? They're my own colony. Ha, successful. The Batman's body falls at the rogue trader's feet as his commanding voice, magnified by a Vox amplifier, carries over all the noise. He orders the crew to master themselves immediately, promising to personally execute anyone who fails to do so. Some of the lunatics quiet down. Others try to snap out of it. One pins her hand to a panel with a dagger to stop herself from moving. Another fervently whispers prayers. Some return to the cogitators, others lean over the wounded. Shots ring out. Those still on a rampage are executed by the rogue trader himself, as promised. Yikes. Script code. The voice belongs to the on-deck engine seer who has turned to the Lord Captain from his station. We've been attacked with scrap code, a tech heresy designed to corrupt machines. The transmission received from the planet was infected with this taint and is now running through the ship's veins. Omnissiah preserve us. The Voidborn officer appears before the captain once more. Whatever is that attacking us, we have a Voidborn officer, is that... doesn't matter. Whatever it is that's attacking us, we have a backup procedure that can circumvent the Vox barrier. In the atrium leading to the bridge, there's a terminal for an isolated system that might still be unaffected. A loud pop. The pipes over the officer's head burst, and a blast of hot air flings the Voidborn away from the Lord Captain, his body slamming straight through a cogidator's panel. The pick frame spins uncontrollably. The servo skull was jolted by the gust. The pick recorder fucks over, the Vox picking up the crackling of electricity and a death cry. Gas on the bridge! A junior attendant shouts, and instantly doubles over, inhaling poisoned air. Yeah, and Edward, trying to look out for his people, gives the order to evacuate immediately. Successful, nice. The Rogue Trader personally oversees the evacuation. Bring the plasma cutters! Get the wounded to the exits! The officers repeat his orders. Ah, that was me. When the Seneschal following the Rogue Trader reaches the door, they fall to the plasma cutters and crumble outward. The Rogue Trader is the last to leave the bridge. The Rogue Trader takes a few steps down the corridor and breaks into a coughing fit. Undoubtedly, a result of spending too long on the bridge. Splashes of crimson stain his clothes and the floor, and the Lord Captain shakes his head. The farther the Rogue Trader walks into the atrium, the more unsteady his footsteps become. The Lord Captain takes a moment to lean against the bulkhead, but then crumples to the floor, coughing up gouts of blood onto his chest. Several people immediately dash to the Rogue Trader's side. The Rogue Trader is taken to the Medicaid deck, where he is instantly surrounded by doctors. The crowd is so dense that the Seneschal anxiously circles above them, trying to catch a glimpse of the subject of his recording. At least, the Lord Captain opens his eyes, dragged back to consciousness by a cocktail of medications and biostimulants from several IV bags. A number of scared junior officers promptly surround the bed. The ship is suffering devastating losses. The intercomms are still offline. The crew is terrified, Lord Captain. Eyes full of terror, bloody uniforms and slumped shoulders. These officers are the only link the Lord Captain currently has to the world outside the Medicaid deck. All he can do is to support those people who are willing to risk their lives for the ship. Oh boy indeed. And Edward gives them an inspiring speech. 54% chance? Yes, nice. The Lord Captain, buried under a mound of catheters, props himself up and taking breaths through a mask now and then, begins to speak of human tenacity, the trials the crew have already overcome, and those that still lie ahead in their struggle to save the ship. This never happened to me. It didn't, Alistair? Curious. Maybe you didn't accept their transmission, but I mean, it seemed obvious to accept their transmission. Ah, you mean that part. I must have left the bridge in time. I made sure that all others escape. I think that's why you get hurt. With each word, the people around the bed straighten up, and their gazes are filled with awe and faith. The officers salute the Lord Captain and leave the Medicaid deck in complete confidence, ready to do their duty. The Lord Captain spends some time in bed, and the doctor's meticulous care. Out there, somewhere, beyond the bulkheads of the blinded and deafened ship, people who have been left without their leader are fighting against an unknown threat. New victims are constantly being brought to the Medicaid deck. The Seneschal records medics carrying in a young man, the right side of his body a mess of flesh and bone. And then, a young woman, with her jaw missing and her ribs bared. As if realizing the pointlessness of his stay here, the Lord Captain demands to be patched up and helped to his feet. Return to the bridge. The walk to the bridge is uneventful. The crisis had passed. Although wounded and crippled, the ship nevertheless is returning to its normal operation. Life on the bridge is as bustling as ever, even though the people are surrounded by destruction. The senior officers have the situation under control, and the people have been organized. The emergency crew have already finished repairing the pipes, the technomets are setting up cogitators and consoles, and the healers are banging up what few corpses there are and examining the wounded. By the comm station, the Rogue Trader runs into the Voxmaster. Praise you, Emperor, you're in peace, Lord Captain. The situation on board is satisfactory. I was just in the middle of setting up comm channels. Soon, all the Voxcasters will be fully operational. Another man appears in the picked frame, a junior officer, completely out of breath, carrying a heap of scrolls. The Voxmaster nods at him. Ah, here are the reports, Lord Captain. If you find yourself able to return to your station, I can immediately give you a rundown of the state of affairs on the ship. End of picked recording. Gosh. That was really horrible. And that's why I never answer calls. Lord Captain, the Voxmaster's voice is quivering with exhaustion. The situation has been brought under control, more or less. It will take some time to eliminate the consequences of the attack completely, but the vessel is capable of motion. We may even be able to conduct a warp jump if you feel like we should leave the system. Allow me to bring you up to date. Fortunately, the bridge suffered only minor losses. The reports mention only a few casualties that have already been replaced. Kiava Gamma went silent after transmitting the harmful signal. I will refrain from sending inquiries to the industrial world to avoid a second attack. I'm afraid we have exhausted our options to remote analysis. More information can only be obtained by closing the distance or even sending an away party to the planet's surface. The vox clicks as Heinrix joins the channel. The time has come to remind you about our agreement, Edward. I must be present in your entourage during your expedition to Kiava Gamma. I'm counting on your cooperation. The crew is awaiting further instructions, Lord Captain. It's also not really cool that there are unknown ships around Kiava Gamma. I wonder what's happening there. If it's also chaos and warp and madness and heresy, probably. But why are all our colonies attacked? This dwarf planet is marked on the Von Valencia's Prescribed charts as Atoll and serves as a backup source of water for the habitable worlds of neighboring systems. Due to the abundance of bacteria proliferating in the Atoll hydrosphere, the extraction of ice was stopped half a century ago, but much to the officer's surprise, the August detected an unidentified mining rig deep underground. Presumably, the excavation is aimed at extracting clay minerals near the planet's core, enriched with iron and other metals. We can do both. And we contact the extraction's Vox station. The extraction turns out to be Incendia Chorda's latest investment. In our system? How dare she? These Demesma is located just within a few jumps from the Krennic system. While this world is of little value to the Von Valencia's dynasty, the officers see this gesture as an attempt to test the boundaries of their newly minted Rogue Trader's leniency. We could just confiscate it. I actually like that one. The first one is confiscating it and rebasing it. The second one is confiscating it, but like letting it stay there. We could allow Incendia to feed on the crumbs unworthy of the Von Valencia's dynasty. Nope. We could destroy it. Or we could behead the whole crew and send their heads to Incendia. Yikes. Let's keep that one, I'd say. Magos Pasqal knows the unusual composition of Atoll's core. Subsequent development will allow the extraction of rare refractory metals. Heeding his advice, the rogue trader decides to keep the extraction for himself. Your people easily assume control as the frightened workers and the token security crew do not even attempt to resist. The extraction's machines are restarted shortly after. The MS containers filled with precious ores are delivered to the flagship's cargo hold. We didn't really get anything as a reward, so I'm like, what did we get? Well, we take it, whatever it is. And another void battle. Yeah, being a rogue trader is a very dangerous job, I guess.
The litany of ordnance rings out across our decks.
On the other hand, looking at what happened so far in this game, living in 40k is a dangerous fate. Oh, Iconoclast Class Destroyer. Okay, we have quite some enemy ships. Not really sure which one to attack first. Let's go for this one.
Of a supernova.
Come on, ship. And another.
Lance batteries, volley!
Huh? You don't look so good anymore, my dear ship friend.
Keep up the pressure.
Ah, you know what? Since we're at it, didn't hit us. I think my torpedoes should be... I think now not anymore. It was just like perfect range to hit them. So many enemies. You're just out of reach. I hate you. I can go like to... Well... Go...
Macro cannons, open fire.
Ah, nice. Won't be enough, but hey.
Fire at will.
Ah, will be enough. Well, would you look at that?
Lance batteries.
Lots of small ships ready to be pulverized. Yeah. Ah, come on. Let's do the warp jump. I think I could have used another salve of torpedoes, but well. Won't be an issue. Corrupted melter torpedoes. Oh. Revenge. Ha,
With the
more
force
revenge.
of a supernova.
At least destroy one of those. Here we go.
Salvo.
How did we miss them? Let's go for this one, because I think this one we are more likely to hit.
Fire at will.
Or to go after. Cool. Let me know you a little.
Torpedoes away.
Let's see where it's going to go. Nah. Out of the range of our torpedoes. Oh. On the other hand, with Argenta's skill, we should be able to make them move. Ah, see? Nice. Game, would you like to show me where I can go?
Helmsman, take us in.
Just press somewhere. Okay. Dum 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 dum.
Coordinates set.
Just trying to outmaneuver. But I think they will just be destroyed. Or not. Come on. Ha.
The effectiveness of the crew has been recognized as adequate.
See that? We're just missing 34 XP. Damn it. Ah, Heinrix. So, let's do your quest. And let's hope we're ready. Manufacturum of Kiava Gamma. It looks very nice. Probably one of the more important worlds. Then again, it seems like we just have like 3. But well. But producing weapons and all that stuff seems kinda important. Ooh. Heinrix and his sunglasses. Heinrix frowns as his eyes sweep over the manufacturer's dark halls. No solemn ceremony, no personal meeting with Magi. Fear we are too late, and we won't be dealing with clandestine heretics after all. Generic areas of alarm stream out of Pascal's Vox synthesizer. In their neurotic, broken rhythm, you sense a call to arms and a warning of danger. Heinrix cool mode. Heinrix, the cooler Heinrix. Alright, remind me, what is your mission on Kiava Gamma? Because I don't remember, and maybe you don't as well. I assumed I would conduct an investigation and track down trace of the cult of the Final Dawn. I believe I can discard that plan now. Both the incident with the scrap code and the manner in which we were forced to land on Kiava Gamma indicate that the situation has taken a turn for the worse. Nevertheless, I must use this opportunity and try to determine what the cult was doing on an industrial world, and what specifically interested them on a planet full of sacred machines and servants of the Omnissiah. First, we must find someone who can tell us what has been going on here. Heinrix pauses, straining to hear something. If that is, there is anyone left here to speak to. So, any suggestions how to proceed? To start, let's look around and find out why the arrival of the rogue trader did not elicit the usual fuss. To speak plainly, I would not count on a warm welcome at this rate. Better keep your weapon at the ready. Alright, we'll learn nothing by standing here. Let's go. The interrogator nods, continuing to stare into the surrounding gloom. Find out more about the cult's activities on Kiava Gamma. Hey, level up. Ooh, AP increase. So now we have 5. I think for Edward I would just go for even more fellowship. And we do still have the malediction of Recat Minoris. It just isn't shown here anymore. For whatever reason. I could also go for intelligence. I think intelligence boosts our strategist things a little bit more. Int and fellowship. Let's go for fellowship. You know what? Then again, if we increase intelligence, we get more intelligence bonus. Here we go. Okay, Heinrix. Yeah, I think everyone gets an AP increase. And with Heinrix, we are going to go for... I'd say we go for more strength, just to deal more damage. Or more weapon skill. On the other hand, we already have quite the high parry. So go for just more dodge. Let's go for strength. More damage. And for Abelard, we're going to go for toughness. Just for more tankiness. Ooh, the bounty hunter gets a third one. I think a little bit more perception would be nice. Because we get the higher bonus with them. And I think I would go for the bold weapon proficiency, because we now have the item which makes sure that Argenta always hits with a bolter weapon. So I think that would be neat. Now we just have to find a bolter weapon. One step at a time. Yeah. Cassia's never shooting, so we could go for fellowship. Then again, willpower's nicer, cause all her Navigator power scale with that. And Pasqal. Weapon skill? I think weapon skill. Just for a higher parrying chance. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. Let's see what's awaiting us here. Should we follow the big white arrows? Or do we feel adventurous? Yeah. Oops. I would say let's follow the arrow. Lots of corrupted servitors. I kind of feel like they are going to attack us. They are not. Talk to you? Ah. The servitors before you appear as if they are performing some elaborate and confusing dance. Striking strange poses, they rock back and forth with their arms bent at peculiar angles. Upon your approach, one of the servitors jerks and tries to turn in your direction. The rest immediately repeat the motion. The strange scene is complemented by a grating sound, dull clicks just at the edge of your hearing, coming from an unknown source. And Edward observes the servitor closest to him. Based on a cursory inspection, you conclude that servitors were designed for precision work on an assembly line, possibly circuit production. The number of high-quality, expensive augments in their bodies greatly exceeds basic standards. The servitor's hands move. It is slowly reaching toward you. I don't think we want to be touched. And we use Argenta's agility to dodge, however that works. Thanks, Argenta. Probably just comes to you and jerks you back. Gently and swiftly, you step away from the servitor. It stretches out its hand, as if trying blindly to touch you in the space that you have already left, and stills once more. It seems his brain is incapable of quickly processing changes in its surroundings. And Edward tries to find the source of the repeating clicks. Soon enough, you locate the source of the clicking. On the back of one of the servitors, a tumor, oozing with murky ichor, is growing straight through the augments. The relays, coated in inflamed tissue, are blocked, hence the reason for the persistent clicking. That they're mutating. Mutation in a servitor. Tech priests typically reject the use of flawed soft tissue for their constructs. Perhaps something has caused this aggressive growth. And quite recently. Yeah, gosh, let's try it. And Pasqal tries to cut away the tumor forming on the spinal cogitator. Have we succeeded? The Omniscience smiling upon us. Without much difficulty, you cut the excess flesh from the mechanisms. The liberated relays let out a rapid burst of clicks, then a spark flashes before your eyes. And something begins to hum deep inside the servitor's flesh. Is that good? As if on cue, the servitors stop moving, lower their arms, and turn to you. Crew 24, second lane of Manufactorum, commencing work. State your request. The servitor addressing you is looking past you, and the voice is coming from the box built into its throat. Follow default programming? Let's hope that was good. Are they following us? They are. Let's hope they are here to assist us. Before you is an ancient, but wholly typical console, intended for use by people not trained in the mysteries of ministering to machine spirits. The cogitator is completely silent, but as you approach, you sense the warmth emanating from its metallic casing. A telltale sign that the machine is working. Let's view the log. You discover the local data crypt with contents collected by either previous operators or the machine spirit itself. Using your access, you study the archives stored on this cogitator. The vast data repositories contain millions of strings related to receiving raw materials for processing, shipping processed metals, and schedules for sacred rituals to be performed, over the machines coming off the production line. The Manufactorum once operated like one gargantuan well-oiled mechanism. The last record is from 2 months ago. That is not good. So, sounds like the cult took over 2 months ago. Cogitator's panel has dozens of breakers, buttons, handles, switches, and other control mechanisms. Let's view the log. You discover the local data crypt with contents collected by either previous operators or the machine spirit itself. Using your access, you study the archives stored on this cogitator. But we have different data. View the first log data. Praised be the Omnissiah, whose might and power transforms dead metal to make manifest the holy visions of the machine god. The new protocols received at the Synod from the great fabricator censor have been executed, despite those who shuddered at the thought of changing a standard procedure. Embolden your hearts, those whose inner weakness breeds error in personal calculations, for the fabricator censor is the conductor of the higher will and the wisest among us. Was that the start of the corruption? I don't know how old the first log data is. View the second log data. Today, at the Supreme Assembly, the fabricator censor unsealed the vaults of the sacred designs, committed those deemed redundant or heretical to purifying disposal. Today, dozens of standard procedures were lost to be replaced by new ones, which the fabricator censor will deliver to those who demonstrate the greatest devotion to serving the truth. But the databanks contain no notion of truth. Could there have been, may the all-knowing one, the gracious keeper forgive me, an error in the fabricator censor's calculations, and he meant to say, serving the quest for knowledge? It sounds a lot like corruption. And we try to view the third log data, which is hidden by the protection of the machine spirit. Nice. Your knowledge of machine spirits is sufficient to trick the system and subdue it to your will. A false query, a crafty manipulation of the controls, and you get what you want. The instrumental terminals have already been replaced, and the material delivery systems are being prepared for divine transformation. The execution of new procedure has been delayed, for there are some in our ranks who doubt the words of the fabricator censor and his votaries, and there are some who are not susceptible to the enhancement protocol that carries our tech comrades to enlightenment. May the deliverers of fate be merciful to them. Inaction is death, and I must be returning to our great work. Praise be to the truth that will reveal the path to knowledge shrouded in darkness. It doesn't really help, so we know there was some people against it. But yeah, I guess this fabricator censor was just corrupted. Fabricator censor, the high-ranking tech priest who may act as an overseer of an entire planet. So basically the governor. Let's find out what's happening. And let's hope those servitors are helping us. Your mind is swathed in blue-grey smoke, Master von Kellogg's. A heavy color. Or heavy thoughts, I presume. You are a dangerous person, Lady Orselio. All navigators are, but your ability places you in a special category. Of course he's not answering. A massive cogwheel constantly drives the colossal gear system, which is lost in the haze. I wonder how big this whole place is.